When guys say they're not ready for a relationship, it hits hard. I came across a meme today that really struck a chord. It said, in your 20s, you'll find a girl who's beautiful, kind, caring, generous, and thoughtful. It's important that you tell her you're not ready for a relationship. That felt all too real for me. The last 3 guys I dated, each for about a month, ended things abruptly, claiming they weren't ready for a relationship. They told me they didn't think they brought anything to the table. They felt like I had my life so figured out while they were still trying to find their way. It was confusing because during our last hangouts, they seemed so invested. They told me I was perfect, that spending time with me was the highlight of their day. I remember them getting emotional, expressing how happy they were with me and how beautiful and kind they thought I was. After the breakups, they reached out to my friends, saying they were really sad about it. Is this just the old, it's not you, it's me? Or, is there something wrong with me? Are there men out there who are truly ready for a relationship? I'm 29, and 2 of the guys I dated were also 29, while 1 was 24. I usually don't date younger, but we had been friends for a year, and he seemed ready. When I asked for their reasons, one guy said he felt like I had already experienced so much in life. He wondered what I was getting out of our time together. He mentioned struggling at work and needing to focus on that and his friendships before dating again. He had never had a serious relationship, admitting he'd only been in one that lasted longer than a month. The second guy was a door-to-door salesman. He felt that where he was in his career didn't match where he wanted to be. He didn't think he could give me the time I deserved and hoped we could reconnect in the future once he figured things out. The last one, who was the most recent, thought he was in a better mental place. But getting closer to a relationship made him realize he needed to focus on his mental health. He said he wasn't in the right financial or emotional space for a relationship with anyone. It's hard to process, and I can't help but wonder if there's someone out there who's ready to truly share their life with me. My girlfriend told me she is pregnant, but I am sterile. I'm from a Southeast Asian country, and English isn't my first language. After an accident following college, I learned I would never be able to have kids. My family knows about the accident, but not the details. I've always wanted to be child-free, so it didn't hit me hard. I completed my master's last year and landed a great job right after. My parents immediately started pushing for marriage, but I wanted to focus on myself and explore life a bit. For the first time, I stood up to them, and they weren't happy. Eventually, they backed off after COVID hit. I tried dating apps, but had no luck. Then my parents introduced me to a family friend's daughter. We clicked, but looking back, I realized I was naive. She agreed with everything I said and never voiced her own opinions. I wanted her to share her interests, but she always said she was interested in whatever I did. I didn't think much of it at the time. When I mentioned I wouldn't have kids, she surprisingly accepted it. I thought, wow, she's probably the one, since it's hard to find a child-free partner in my culture. I hadn't told her about my accident yet. A month ago, we had sex, and I used protection. The next day, she started ghosting me. I thought it was due to my performance and wanted to give her space. Then her replies became infrequent, filled with short responses. I worried she might want to end things, but decided to let it be. Yesterday, her family came to my house, and she claimed she was pregnant and that I was the father. I was in shock, feeling like I might collapse. I didn't say anything while they discussed marriage and what needed to happen because of this supposed pregnancy. I turned to Reddit for advice. I'm incredibly grateful for all the support and insights I received. Many pointed out that it might not even be my child. I took the day off work, called clinics for testing, and bought pregnancy tests. I asked her to come over alone, but she arrived with her parents, thinking we'd discuss engagement plans. I told them to wait outside and called her in. When I asked her to take a pregnancy test, she screamed at me, and I was taken aback. She ran outside to her parents, and soon everyone was yelling at me in my own home. I felt overwhelmed and told them all to leave. An hour later, my parents arrived, and the truth came out. She was never actually pregnant. My parents had orchestrated this whole situation, hoping to push me into marriage and grandchildren. I broke down, feeling betrayed after always doing what they wanted. In a moment of anger, I told them to leave and never contact me again. I even expressed my feelings in my native language, which was harsh. For once, I think they realized I was serious, and they left. I blocked them all and sent a message to my parents, telling them to never reach out again. Even in an emergency. After crying for a while, I watched some dog videos and went through my messages on Reddit. I felt I owed everyone an update because it was their support that helped me find the strength to stand up for myself. Thank you all, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Ayata for not giving the dollhouse I built to my niece, but to my wife as a gift? I'm a 28-year-old man, and I recently created a replica of a house that's special to my wife, who is also 28. It's about 2 feet tall and not overly complicated to build, but my wife has mentioned a few times that she thought it would be great for her little trinkets. She has this wonderful habit of collecting them, and I love that about her. I didn't tell her I was making it, but I cleverly involved her in the process by having her help with some TikToks to get the colors just right. She had no idea what I was up to. When I showed a picture to my brother, he thought it was cool but didn't quite get the purpose. He then showed it to my niece, Ava, who's 13. She recognized it and said she wanted one too. My brother asked if I would give it to her for her birthday. I explained that it was meant for my wife, but I offered to make one with Ava instead. I thought it would be a great way to teach her some basic woodworking skills, which aren't really taught in schools anymore. My brother suggested I could just make a second one for my wife and give the first one to Ava, since her birthday is coming up. I stood my ground, saying this was specifically for my wife. He seemed to accept that, but then he came back with, "Isn't it a little weird to make a dollhouse for an adult woman?" I tried to clarify that it's not a dollhouse, just a decorative shelf. He argued that made it worse, claiming Ava would actually play with it. I think he must have complained to our mom, because she called me, saying it was stupid to give my wife a dollhouse. I tried to explain, but she just kept insisting it was a silly idea. This weekend, while visiting their house, Ava kept bringing up the house, saying things like, "I've always wanted one just like it." She kept asking why my wife needed a dollhouse. I told my brother that he was encouraging his daughter to be manipulative, and I really didn't like it, so I decided to leave. He accused me of teasing Ava, saying I was being a bad uncle. Being a good uncle matters to me, and I do feel for Ava, because she's a fan too. I admit I might have a blind spot here since I don't have kids, and maybe I shouldn't have shared the picture with my brother in the first place. Am I really the bad guy for not just giving it to her? Yes, it was easy to make, and I could create another one quickly. But this was a special gift for my wife, and I wanted it to stay that way.
After 6 hours of clubbing, I talked to exactly 0 women. I don't know what to do anymore to learn how to connect with women. I'm feeling so disappointed in myself. I've been hyping myself up all December, telling myself 2025 will be different, and this year it changes. I thought starting small would help, so for this New Year's party, I promised myself I'd talk to at least 3 girls I didn't know. Just a simple compliment would be a victory. A step in the right direction. But I still couldn't do it. I'll be honest, I cried when I went to bed. I feel let down by myself. I'm 27 and still a virgin, never been in a relationship, and never even been kissed. It's no surprise I can't talk to women. I remember at least 10 people whose outfits I could have complimented. A nice necklace, or I love your outfit. I could have joked about the silly glasses or asked what they were drinking. Simple things that wouldn't have been received negatively. Yet I couldn't muster the courage. I know they're just normal people, with the same fears and insecurities as me. If they didn't want to talk, they'd show it. Rationally, I understand that, but when the moment comes, I freeze. I thought maybe it was because I don't drink, so I tried that and hated it. I thought going out with friends would help, but I went alone, hoping boredom would push me to talk. I even bought a suit, thinking it would boost my confidence. Nothing worked. I spent the night feeling out of place in a nice suit, trying to gather my nerves, but I kept failing. I tried using the 10-10-10 rule, reminding myself that in 10 months, none of this would matter. but I still couldn't bring myself to approach anyone. At one point, I met an acquaintance who introduced me to 4 friends, 3 women and 1 man. I thought, this is it, and lowered my expectations. Just a conversation with any of them would have made me feel better. But even with them, I couldn't hold a conversation for more than 3 sentences. Please help me. I'm 27, and I feel like I should have figured this out by now. How can I dream of being a father if I can't even meet new people, let alone find the future mother of my children? Update. My wife returned from a work retreat with a hickey. She swears it's a bug bite, but I'm not convinced. I'm at a loss. How do I move forward? I wanted to give an update and thank everyone who reached out. Your perspectives helped me a lot. Things have been a roller coaster, and I'm still trying to process everything. It took a while for my wife and me to have a real conversation about the bruise on her neck. We were caught between arguing and her showering our daughter and me with affection. I rarely saw the bruise because she wore turtlenecks, but I noticed it changing from reddish purple to yellow. There wasn't any more discussion about the retreat. She made it clear she was done talking about it and that she shouldn't have to defend herself to me. I told her she could do whatever she wanted, but I was done feeling like a fool. I couldn't share a bed with someone I didn't trust, so I moved into the guest room. Communication stopped, and the silence was heavy. Even our daughter noticed, and I'm not proud of that. I try to keep her out of our fights. One night, my wife came to the guest room and asked if we could talk. I could tell she'd been crying. She said she hated how things were between us and felt she was losing me, no matter what. I told her I needed complete honesty. She confessed she had hooked up with a coworker on our daughter's birthday. The hickey was from him. She got lost in the moment and didn't realize how hard he was sucking on her neck. They made out, and he went down on her, but it stopped when he called her by a nickname I affectionately use. That snapped her back to reality. She went to splash water on her face and saw the hickey. The guy made light of it, joking about it being her souvenir. She blew up on him and kicked him out. Part of the reason she avoided me was guilt. She said she was coming clean because she didn't want to hide things anymore. I asked her why she cheated. What was it about that guy that was worth risking everything? She claimed it wasn't him specifically, nor was she unhappy with our marriage. She felt broken, and the more she looked in the mirror, the more she saw her dad's patterns, distant from family and unfaithful to her mom. She admitted her family never talked openly about anything. I told her her parents didn't make her cheat. She chose to be with someone who disrespected our relationship. These were her decisions, and she could have chosen our family at any point. She agreed, but wanted to blame her upbringing. She apologized for cheating and for entertaining the guy's advances. She said she would do whatever it takes to repair things, go to HR, quit her job, counseling, anything. She wanted to make things right. I told her I didn't know what right looked like or if it was even possible for us anymore. I thought we could talk through anything, but now I felt numb. She insisted we could still work it out. She tried to rally for our relationship, but I felt like I didn't recognize her anymore. Not just from the betrayal of our vows, but also how she treated our daughter. She felt she had failed as a wife and mom, but she loves us both deeply and wants our family intact. I told her I couldn't give her the answer she wanted. I thought we needed to separate and reevaluate. She didn't want that. She felt we should stay together in our home. But I told her a separation was necessary. Either she would leave or I would take our daughter. She consented to leave to avoid uprooting our daughter too much. My wife is staying with my in-laws, which I know is hard for her since she doesn't have the best relationship with them. One of the hardest parts is the shift for our daughter. Right now, she believes her mom is just busy with work. She hasn't questioned it too much. My mother-in-law called the other day. She made no excuses for my wife but advocated for us to work through this. She told me times when my wife described me as the anchor she always wanted. Despite some family opposition we faced throughout our relationship, my mother-in-law has always supported us. I'm even more at a loss. I never imagined this kind of betrayal from my wife. She was my safe place. I feel numb yet broken. I'm still in love with her, but I don't see myself, her, our relationship, or our family the same way. Everything feels tense because it's all so fresh. I think this separation is for the best. I'm not sure about divorce. I haven't let myself fully go there. I'm not set either way. I don't know where things go from here, but I'm focusing on our daughter and taking things one step at a time. That's all I can do right now. Thank you again to everyone for the support. It's much appreciated. My daughter wants me to sell my entire estate and use it to travel the world. I'm a 54-year-old widow. I created this account during the holidays last year, but it's been a year and I still face the same struggle. My husband passed away 8 years ago, and the ranch we built together has been my lifeline since then. It took decades of hard work, early mornings, and countless challenges to create this place. Every corner of it holds memories of him. I have one daughter, now 23, who is married. For a while after my husband's death, we were close. I supported her and her husband in every way I could. About a year ago, they sat me down for a serious conversation. I thought something was wrong, but instead, they asked me to sell the ranch. Not just part of it, but everything. They argued that since I don't have other children or close family left, the money would be better spent on their travels. They suggested I could downsize and still live comfortably. What hurt the most wasn't just the request. It was how casually they dismissed what the ranch means to me. To them, it was just an asset to be liquidated. When I refused, explaining that this place is my life's work and my last connection to my husband, their tone shifted. They called me selfish, saying I was choosing land over my own daughter. After that conversation, everything changed. Our calls became brief, and visits stopped. I received a final text from her, stating that if I didn't support her dreams, she would cut contact. Holidays became complicated and lonely. It's been a year since I've seen them in person. I sit on the porch some nights, wondering how it came to this. I never imagined that refusing to sell the land I worked my whole life for would cost me my relationship with my child. I miss my daughter and the bond we once shared. Every time I think about signing those papers, I feel like I'd be erasing the last chapter of my life for someone else's comfort. I don't know if standing my ground makes me stubborn, or if giving in would break me. The only people I have left are the workers on the ranch. They visit me every day, inviting me to join them for Christmas and New Year's Eve. I don't think this pain will ever end, and my heart aches. A friend once told me that while a child may endure being without a parent cannot endure being without their child, and I truly believe that. How do I go on?
I think I was sent a sign tonight to end my relationship. I feel sick, but I can't ignore it. I'm 25, and I've been dating my boyfriend since we were both 17. We're family in every sense of the word. His nibblings even call me auntie. Everyone around us thinks marriage and kids are just around the corner. But life has me feeling lost. I started bartending to help pay for college, got my associates, and then decided to take time off. I never went back. Now, I'm qualified for nothing, still bartending and sleeping until noon most days. I put so much pressure on myself to find a real career so I can settle down and start a family. In my small southern town, I feel like I'm already behind. About 8 months ago, I approached my boyfriend with the idea of moving out of state to pursue my career dreams. I've always said I don't want to stay here forever, and he seemed understanding. But I soon realized he has no real plans to leave, ever. This realization agonized me for months. I found myself looking at apartments behind his back, dreaming about what my life could be like. Ultimately, I decided that choosing the school would be selfish. It would break his heart, shock our families, and mean that I wasted over 8 years of his life. I surrendered to the small town life. When we reached his house, he leaned down and said, "Hey, a word of advice. Trust your instincts." Then he shut the door and walked away. I wish I could express my shock. I sat in my car, staring out the windshield, and then I cried the whole way home. It felt like a wave of realization washed over me. My life is about to change. I feel sick about what I have to do. I already feel heartbroken. What a mess I'm about to create. I just don't see how I could ever ignore what happened tonight.
How do I tell my partner that his hygiene is an issue? I've been dating this guy for 2 months, and every time we're intimate, I notice an unpleasant smell. It's been tough for me to address this directly. I tried to be subtle, suggesting we shower together, hoping to clean him up while we were having fun. But he only let me do it once. And when I tried again, he wouldn't let me touch him. I even watched him clean himself once and casually asked if he was doing it right. He insisted that his method was sufficient. I thought I could handle this without being upfront, but he started to notice. Recently, he asked why I always wanted to shower before we were intimate. I didn't have the courage to tell him the truth, so I just said it made me feel fresh. After one encounter, I ended up with a yeast infection, which made things even more complicated. We switched to using condoms, but the issue still lingers in my mind, making it hard for me to feel intimate. I've been wondering if it's worth it to continue this relationship. If I decide to break up, I wouldn't even know how to explain it. He's genuinely nice and struggles with depression, which makes me hesitant to hurt his feelings. I finally decided to reach out and explain everything. I didn't say it directly, but I mentioned the yeast infection and how I noticed he cleans differently than my previous partners. I told him I cared about him and that I needed to bring this up for our relationship to continue positively. He responded with a simple acknowledgement, and since then, we haven't talked. I'm not sure if he's offended or just processing everything. Honestly, I'm not too worried. If this changes how he treats me, it might just be the easiest breakup of my life. I appreciate all the support and advice I received. Some comments made me laugh, while others were kind and helpful. Thank you to everyone who shared their experiences. It really helped me navigate this difficult situation. My husband watched me catch feelings for another man I didn't ever realize I liked. Full disclosure, I never cheated. My husband and I have been married for 3 years and together for 5. This year, I started a job in a male-dominated industry as a mature apprentice, working with big machinery. My husband is a secure and confident man, so he fully supported my decision to pursue this career. I'm an easy person to get along with, and I love having a laugh. The guys in my crew are respectful, but there was one tradesman, let's call him Jack, who I particularly clicked with. Initially, it felt like we were just good mates, but as time went on, our conversations grew deeper, and I started to feel a bit of attraction toward him. He reminded me of a younger version of my husband. I always kept my husband in the loop about my work and who I was spending time with. But he began to notice that my stories centered more and more around Jack. I defended myself, insisting it was just because we worked closely together. Jack and I continued to bond at work, sharing laughs and playful banter. He would tease me in front of everyone and compliment me in unexpected ways. Then, during a team-building event, a coworker asked what was going on between Jack and me. That's when it hit me. I started to reflect on my feelings, questioning how I felt when Jack wasn't around. I noticed how he popped into my mind on weekends, especially when I came across something he would like. I realized I was actually falling for him. When I got home, I shared the conversation with my husband. He looked at me and said, "Well, yeah, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? You like the guy." We have a deep trust, so the idea of cheating never came up. But my husband continued. "I've watched you fall in love with him over the past few months. All I could do was sit back, pray you'd stay faithful, and hope you'd come back to me." Hearing that absolutely shattered my heart. I hadn't even realized it was happening, but he did. As a result, I pulled back from my interactions with Jack at work. It felt awkward, but I could never do that to my beautiful husband again. I don't know why I'm sharing this story, but it made me fall in love with my husband even more. I don't deserve him, but I'm so thankful he is mine.
I should have just gone for it. I've been with my significant other for 7 years, and we have 2 children, conceived on our very first encounter. He pays for everything and takes care of my well-being. He embodies what a traditional partner should be. But there's a void. He doesn't provide for me emotionally or sexually. I've begged him for years for more. I know it sounds selfish, wanting more when he's already giving so much, but I feel so alone, as if he has no desire for me. A woman with a healthy libido. He asks for sex once a month, and I mean asks in the most monotone way. let's go have sex. There's no excitement, no interest, just a sense of obligation. I've wondered if he's finding intimacy elsewhere, but nothing on his phone suggests that. He's never cheated, yet I can't seem to turn his head. I've tried everything. Sexy clothes, toys, even suggestions to spice things up. I've put in the effort, but nothing seems to change. I feel belittled every time I bring up how much our lack of intimacy bothers me. I often turn to myself for comfort, but the loneliness is overwhelming. I crave intimacy, the kind that comes with connection and affection. I want to explore my sexuality, but if I leave, I face poverty. I'm not working and have no job prospects. I've fallen into a depression and motherhood is my only anchor. Leaving would shatter my children's perfect world. But I'm so unhappy. Today, 2 guys sat next to me at the bar, where I often escape my platonic relationship. They flirted, they were kind, and for a moment, I felt seen. I know they weren't interested in my intellect, but I shared it anyway. Deep down, I understood their intentions, yet I still felt a spark. I should have gone for it. The loneliness is exhausting. I want to thank everyone who took the time to read this and share their thoughts. Your perspectives have helped me reflect on my relationship. Last night, I spoke with him, and he opened up about the stress of being a sole provider. I'm going back to school for 2 years, hoping to ease some of that burden. I'm willing to work on our relationship a little longer. But I've also realized that if things don't improve, I can find a solution that prioritizes my well-being. Regardless of how hard it may be on my family, I'm okay with moving on if necessary. I have no intentions of cheating, and I'm grateful to have shared these thoughts and feelings.